next person whom I'm going to introduce was he initially dreamt of becoming a public speaker, and he became one. And he wanted to become a trainer, and that dream was a reality. And now his biggest dream is he wanted to become one of the great trainer. And also the recent dream also which came to reality, actually he was supposed to be elected as a president of USA. But unfortunately, like, he's been selected as a president of MPs, Henry Toastmaster Club. So, and I'm going to invite Aravind, and before that, I'd like to Arjun to read his objectives from the manual ACB.
Toastmaster Aravind is giving an advanced speech from the entertaining speaker manual. His speech objectives are to entertain the audience by relating a personal experience and to organize an entertaining speech for maximum impact. The time is 5 to 7 minutes.
The Zen Master, Aravind Zen Master.
Let me take you guys back in time. 8 years back, I was 18 years old, born and brought up in a Tamil culture. Back then I was a very energetic and enthusiastic teen. This was a phase in my life where my hormones were at its peak and nature had its own way of driving me crazy. And whenever I saw a beauty on the road, I went, what a beauty, macha. And my friend Praveen would get into the details of the beauty. 3,500 RPM, 7,500 cc, 318 max speed, 3 crore 37 lakhs 33,399 only, a red Ferrari made in Italy. Ladies and gentlemen, all those who are crazy about cars, raise your hands. A very good evening. During this phase in my life, where I was crazy about cars, my father bought a new beauty to home. She was a sheer beauty. A majestic maroon colored Toyota Qualis. Just like in the movie, my father always stood in between the hero and the heroine. He said, "Dave, first go take your driving license and then touch my car." And then he handed over a visiting card to me. The visiting card read, Durai Driving School, owner Mr. P. Duraisamy, since 1942. I immediately contacted the owner and I signed up for a 3-week driving course. Bangor. Week 1, day 1, I was requested to arrive at a real estate arena. I went there and I was shocked because it was advertised that the real estate arena was very close to the tower, 30 kilometers from. And I was also shocked because there were no signs of human life except for freshly laid roads and colorful flags. So I waited for over 15 minutes and then came a car, a Maruti Sodapa, a grey colored one, came here and stopped in front of me. It was a Maruti Zen. From the car came a 5 feet tall creepy creature with big ears and a few hairs, also known as a human being. He came to me smiling, introduced himself as Mr. P. Duraisamy, the owner of Durai Driving School. I greeted in response. He bragged that he was not just the driver who taught my dad how to drive, but also my granddad. That is when my mind went back to the visiting card and I said, Durai Driving School, owner P. Duraisamy, since 1942. That is when I realized that the since 1942 part was not related to the driving school anymore, but to the owner himself. Skipping all these, I went into this car and the day 1 driving course started. Trust me people, not just in Toastmasters, everywhere the beginning is always the toughest. So whenever my master asked me to turn right, I turned left. Whenever my master asked me to go front, I went back. Whenever my master asked me to press the brake, I pressed the accelerator. So day 1, day 1 I cleared all the driving skills required for an amateur. So at the end of week 1, I had a lot of dents, not in the car, but in my head, because after every mistake I did, my master would whack my head. So week 2, we were venturing into city roads and traffic. This was a week where I was put into all sorts of situations which an amateur driver should never ever face. Say for example, there was one situation where I had a red signal in front, I stopped the car. A bicycler came in front and he stopped. an auto driver to my left, a bus driver behind. To add to all these, I had a beast sitting next to me, my master. So to add to these creepy creatures, I heard the sound of a siren, an ambulance approaching us. The siren sound grew louder, and then the bus driver started honking heavily. I was tensed. I was so much tense that I looked at my master and he signaled to take off. I immediately pressed the clutch, shifted the gears, pressed the accelerator to the fullest and let the clutch immediately. Bang on into the divider. Week 2, I nailed driving in city roads, except that my father had to pay another 10,000 rupees for my driving. So next, the most expected week 3, the last of the driving course. It was called the long trip driving training. So slowly, my master and myself, we crept into the car, and I dragged the car slowly from the narrow city roads to the broad highways. My master looked at me and asked, Aravind, what's the speed target you want to hit? I said, Master, 80 km per hour, Master, 80 km per hour. He smiled sarcastically and asked me to buckle up. I immediately buckled up and I pressed the accelerator. The vehicle moved from 40s to the 50s, 50s to the 60s, 60s to the 70s, and 70s to the 80s. Yes, the target achieved. We were driving at 80s happy. After a few seconds, I still felt that the car was speeding. I took my leg out of the accelerator and I still sensed that the car was speeding. That is when I realized in the driving school car, there are 2 sets of leg controls. One for you, another for the master. If you don't press the brake, the master will. If you don't press the accelerator, the master will. So he was controlling the speed of the car. So the car rose from 80 km per hour to 100 km per hour. My legs were shaking, my hands were shivering, my lips were trembling, and my eyes were sweating. And I looked at my master. He screamed, eyes on the roads, yes, eyes on the roads. We were cruising past all the BMWs and Audis on the highways. And then came 120. Suddenly my master signaled me to. He slowly parked the car to the sides. I went out, gasped some air, while the creepy creature was enjoying a smoke. That is when I realized it was not just a master who owned the Zen. It was the Zen master who helped me overcome my fear. The Zen master.